The Eric Gregory Awards, founded by the late Dr. Eric Gregory in 1960 for the encouragement of young poets, rewards first collections by poets under 30. By the time the oldest of today's winners was born, there had already been over 150 previous Eric Gregory recipients. The list of 309 awardees to date is a roll call of some of the biggest names in poetry for the past half-century: Jackie Kay, Andrew Motion, Carol Ann Duffy and Alan Hollinghurst, to name just a few.
Congratulations to the 5 recipients of this year's Eric Gregory Awards. Each of them will now say a few words and share one of their poems with us. The first award goes to SUSANNAH DICKEY for Bloodthirsty for Marriage. Judge Inu Ellams said of the collection, "I found the sharp wit and originality of this voice to be infectious and exciting. The poems turned and kept turning. From page to page, I had no idea what would come next, but each time I was surprised and entertained." Susanna is the author of 3 poetry pamphlets, and her first novel, Tennis Lessons, will be published next month by Transword.
Hello, sports fans. I'm delighted to get an Eric Gregory this year. I love it. I love it so much. I don't know yet who the other recipients are, but congratulations to all of them. I'm sure they're phenomenal. I'm very grateful to the judges, to Jake and Amy at Bad Betty for publishing Bloodthirsty for Marriage, and to all my beloveds in Belfast, Derry, London. Thank you. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Next week I'm going to be talking about mayonnaise. Hi, this is a poem from Bloodthirsty for Marriage. Good career move. She sits on small Slemish's horizontal grass, a collapsed tent with her peeled lychee skin. Everything lies new on her, like a pasta-bake glow. I've bound her hands and feet with knotted together sports socks, and the first thing she asks me is if they're clean. Look, those upturned smoosh cheeks. Getting older is just remembering all that has been demanded of you, I tell her. I can see the shadow of a much smaller bull. There's a yellow knife in my pocket. I wonder why I needed the mountain at all. But oh, yes, the wind on my scalp, I remind myself. People have stopped asking about my plans, and it's raining, in that way where it comes from inside you. This is what having your foot in the door of hopelessness is, I tell her. If anyone asks, I'll say God told me to. If anyone asks, I'll say God told me not to. This venison neck, this recurring rage. Thank you.
Our second award goes to Natalie Lynn Balderstone for her collection Divinations of Survival. Judge JOANNE Capildeo said, Natalie Lynn Balderstone's Divinations of Survival is remarkable in many ways. Good storytelling has a place in poetry, and this fierce filial voice draws attention and deserves praise. I would like to highlight this poetry collection's character as a book of war. In the literature of war, women are often depicted as victims of rape and displacement. Here, they exercise agency of both mundane and mythological dimensions. Natalie's poems have been featured in Oxford Poetry, Magma, The Good Journal, Cha, an Asian Literary Journal, and many other publications. She was recently commissioned by the Arts Council-funded podcast Bedtime Stories at the End of the Word to write a mythic poetry sequence, which was broadcasted online in September 2019.
Thank you so much to the judges for choosing Divinations on Survival as one of the winners of this award. I grew up listening to my family's stories and stories from our culture, and they're really important to me. So it means a lot that there are other people willing to engage with them. And thank you most of all to my mum, who is the reason I write. My mother's last Mid-Autumn Festival in Saigon, 1977. A golden shovel after On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. You light candles for every ghost of your blood, bend to say your prayers, burn just to mask the smell of surrender. You pile plastic fruit at the shrine and queue for rations. Remember to say Kam Un, even in the eye of ruin. This year, the moon is a chunk of alabaster tomb, blasted high. When you next bleed, it will be switchblade thin. The school monk said, English nouns taste of honeysuckle, that there is a place where meadows are alight with goldenrod instead of grenades. You plan to leave. Your father teaches you to say sorry in 5 languages, so you might survive into next autumn. Always apologize when you don't know what else to say. You prepare to cross the sea to a place where autumn means something different, where no one pays homage to the moon despite its bloodless light, unfiltered by gun smoke, where the crops are still safe to eat, and the world will always return to green. To see it, you are ready to lose everything but the language you pray in. You send a lantern into the night. Your mother says, I hid all your names inside, as 100 flames fill your eyes.
Our next award winner is Roseanne Watt for her collection Moderdij. Judge Catherine Paypoint describes it as a quiet and immensely powerful work, as low air, finely judged, entirely rooted, visually strong, and elemental, yet otherworldly and incantatory, sensed and written on the dividing point where the veils are thin on Shetland. Roseanne is a poet, filmmaker and musician from Shetland. She's currently poetry editor for The Island Review and was the winner of the 2015 Outspoken Poetry Prize, Poetry and Film, runner-up in the 2018 Aesthetica Creative Writing Award, and winner of the Edwin Morgan Poetry Award in 2018.
Hi, I'm Roseanne Watt, and I am absolutely thrilled to be one of the winners of the Eric Gregory Award this year. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much to the judges and up to the Society of Authors for the award, and a big shout out to my publisher Polygon for bringing the book into the world. It was amazing, so thank you so much. This poem is called Sat I' the Blood, and it's the first ever poem that I wrote in Shetland, and it's kind of trying to muddle through complicated feelings I had about this linguistic inheritance of having 2 languages, one English and one minoritized in Shetland. So it comes from this postcard back here. Sat I' the Blood means salt in the blood. You can't actually see the postcard because there's a reflection on it. It features 2 boys playing on a boat, and it's got nothing to do with those boys. It's just a phrase I thought was really nice. So, Sat I' the Blood. Lass, dus part thy tongue with thy in land, Knappet thy words sae dry they sift between thy teeth like sand spritting down an hourglass. I give thee a language, one that could capture the percussion of waves upon its consonants, unravel the threads of the soul with a single word, Shurmel, Mariel, Bonhoga, a gift that was left out the moulder of the rees. Let me start o'er. Lass, thou doesna hae the words to had me on the page, and they'll never find me there until thou understands the sat that courses through thy veins is the lifeblood o' an older conversation, one that ebbs and floods just as the tide. These words are my handsel to thee. Tak them, gie them a pulse. And I'll do the English translation in case you want that too. It's really hard not to accidentally slip into Shetland doing this one, so bear with me. Lass, you've parched your tongue of your own land, propered your words so dry they sift between your teeth like sand flitting down an hourglass. I gave you a language, one that could capture the percussion of waves on its consonants, unravel the threads of the soul with a single word, Shurmel, Mariel, Bonhoga, a gift that you've left out to moulder in the gales. Let me start over. Lass, you don't have the words to hold me on the page, and you'll never find me there until you understand the salt that courses through your veins is the lifeblood of an older conversation, one that ebbs and floods just as the tide. These words are my gift to you. Take them, give them a pulse. Thank you.
The fourth winner of this year's Eric Gregory Awards is KADISH Morris for her collection Poor But Sexy. Judging my alums said of her work, I was astonished by the clear voice and identity of this book and this writer. There is a fearless, caustic wit that is exciting, self-aware and inventive. There is such a wide variety of form and experimental use of white space on the page. I wanted to read more. Originally from Leeds, KADISH is a London-based poet, critic and editor. Her poetry has been published in Pop Shot and A Strange American Funeral. It was also recently exhibited at Gallery 44 in Toronto and turned into a BBC short film in 2019. She is currently the commissioning editor at the Observer New Review and was previously a staff writer at Frieze.
Thank you to the Society of Authors for awarding me an Eric Gregory Prize. It's something that I've wanted to submit to for years, but talked myself out of until the very last minute. And it's a bit mad. I'm still in shock about it. And so I'm really just grateful to be able to invest more time in my poetry.
How can I be sure that this is my opening wound and not one half of a small line? That was my first thought this morning, and that pink is such an operatic colour. Only people who regularly rinse blood out in the bath will know what I mean, or equally, those who make their living de-seeding pomegranates. In my youth, I was led to believe that blood was blue before it came into contact with oxygen, but this is not true. Neither is the sky, which is only blue because of the sea, nor is the colour pink according to scientists, who have concluded that it is not an actual colour, but a coalesce of red and violet and light. This is terrible news for the future of romance. This is terrible news for the future of femininity. We must all therefore agree to treat the following with the utmost delicacy and preservation: tongue, palms, lips, labia. A nurse is packing my fleshy surgical incision with Steri-Strip, while the evening outside the clinic is tiled with the skin of dragon fruit. It's like the moment you learn a new word, everyone begins to say it.
Our fifth and final winner of the 2020 Eric Gregory Awards is AMINA for her collection A Warning to the House That Holds Me. Judge Vani Capildeo said it has the strength to refract a wide spectrum of stimuli and expressions, and to make even the best known new. Jama invaluably brings a diasporic Somali lens to bear as part of her profound vision. Amina is a Somali-British writer currently studying for her BA in English with Creative Writing at Goldsmiths University. She has completed residencies and performed internationally with speaking volumes. Her work often explores displacement, dual cultural identity, and family, and she has been published in numerous anthologies, as well as shortlisted for the Outspoken 2018 Poetry Prize.
Hey, I'm Amina, and my debut pamphlet, A Warning to the House That Holds Me, has been selected as one of the 2020 Eric Gregory Award winners, which is a bit mad. There are so many people that I would love to thank, most notably all the incredible Black writers that have paved the way for me to even be in this position. My good sis, Victoria Duque won this award with her pamphlet Girl B in 2018, and she so clearly and beautifully stated that Jackie Kay was the first Black writer to ever win it in 1991, and Victoria was the second in 2018. And sis, you said that next time it wouldn't take so long, and here we are 2 years later. So alhamdulillah for that. My pamphlet it's just a bit of me, you know? It's about Islam, it's about motherhood, it's about Blackness, it's about Somali culture, it's about the trauma that lives within all of that and how we continue telling stories. And I'm so grateful that it is out in the world, so thank you for that. Thank you to the Society of Authors. I just pray that we all get through this time that we're in, and to all the non-Black people listening, buy the pamphlet, buy all the pamphlets, support Black writers on and offline, in and out of protest. Don't let this moment we're living in, let its energy stop at any point, continue it. Sign up to all the patrons. Do all the work, because we've been doing the work for so long. I just pray that this is not just a win for me. Do you know what I mean? This is a win for all Black writers, Black women, Black Muslim women. Thank you for getting me through everything every day. I love you. Yeah, man. All thanks is due to Allah, to whom we belong and to whom we return. So, Mogadishu Funk, a history of migration. Durdur first discovered jazz before the war. All saxophones and good vibrations, they say it sounded like the adhan, the call to prayer, all intimate. They say it sounded like a pre-wedding night, holy and forbidden. Jazz makes people electric before most of the country had electricity. For a while, they kept trying to smooth out the creases, like the sound was a fabric, their tendency to make everything flat, but not jazz. Durdur flee, some to Europe, others from states to states, all away from home. Cassette tapes are buried along with bodies they should have never started singing in the first place. All hell breaks loose. The people think Dajjal has arrived, or Iblis. They see the moon split like the land, Yajuj and Majuj, Isa descending into Damascus, a cloud of smoke, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day of reckoning. They thought it was Iblis, but it was just Siyad. Durdur are part of the diaspora. Kids and grandkids, language turns from Somali to English to Dutch, and back to Somali, but by choice this time. Ma'awises are ditched for bootcut jeans, Hidia Dakan for miniskirts and tube tops. Michael and Prince are our uncles now. The moon splits again, but this time it's like a baby opening its eyes to the world. Durdur reunite. After decades and decades of statelessness, they should have never stopped singing in the first place. All hills are off the floor, all etiquette and shame out the window, an invasion of colours and silk dresses, free mixing and twerking, mourning and celebrating, a gift of head wraps. The song talks of burning ships on Lido and Berbera. Smoke feels like it's at our feet. They sing about sunsets that actually touch us but feel so distant. They sing about genocide. Grandmothers are at the front of the stage. Tonight, they are back in 1980s Mogadishu. These songs are postage stamps commemorating the loss of their country.